All right, welcome everyone. Hola, hola, and welcome to Making Líder Moves podcast, the show that brings powerhouse Latinas together to discuss the challenges that they are facing within their comunidades and the moves that they made to prioritize joy in their careers. Spoiler alert, but again, also no surprise, they were able to prioritize joy within the comunidades that they built themselves. Hola, my name is Yovana Rosales, your host here at Making Leader Moves, and I am so excited to be here with you all. On today's show, we are going to talk about how to approach your inner self for a new change in la vida, whether that is professional or personal. Con mi amiga Vanessa Castillo. Yay! She's a badass entrepreneur who is also your soulful biz bestie.
What?
Ooh, I'm obsessed with that soulful part.
Thank you.
Um, she thrives in creating alignment with self, business, and online presence. She keeps it real and makes shift happen. I'm
Yeah.
here for all of this. I'm here for all of it. I love this branding. Um,
Awesome.
her most recent work includes the Rich Girl Mindset community, which she will be able to talk about later on during the show. Um, Hola, Vane, and welcome
Hi.
to Leader Moves.
Very exciting to be here.
I'm so excited.
So
I'm so
excited to
excited.
be here. Thank you so much. I'm excited to chat with you. Excited is the word right now.
Excited. Okay, that is the word for today.
Woo,
I'm
woo,
here
woo,
for it.
woo.
Awesome. So I introduced you a little bit, but please tell us a little bit more about yourself, and what's going on with you. And was this your original life path?
The life path.
The life path.
Actually, life path. That's interesting. I think now that I know more about my life path, yes, this was my life path, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, so again, thank you for having me. And thank you for that intro. It's always interesting to hear about yourself. Okay, so let's see. Who am I? I call myself a soulful biz bestie. Number one, because I've been in business for over 10 years. So I
Mhm,
think it's 12 years now.
mhm.
And the soulful part is because I take a very intuitive and mindful approach to the work that I do, right? And there's like different ways that I can help, which is the other reason why I call myself a biz bestie to begin with, right? Because I like to open the floor, I like to open the connection and the communication and see like what your goals are, what you need, and how I can help.
Mhm.
So how I landed here is a journey in itself, right? Like
Mhm.
who Vanessa is today is not who Vanessa was in college. Um, I definitely have done a lot of personal growth that has, led me to this moment.
Mhm.
Um, and I love this moment. I love this part because this is where I actually get to make the impact in the world, right? So the way it started was I went to school at the University of Miami for visual communications. So my passion is and still was and still is people and storytelling
Mhm.
and connection and like community.
Love it.
So how it started though was through the art of visual storytelling, visual communications, documentary filmmaking, and photography. And
Mhm.
my comfort zone at that time was behind the camera because it kind of gave me that in to
Mhm.
people, but in like a non-invasive way because the camera was like the in.
Got it.
So I was able to like make those connections that I wanted to make but didn't know how because I was like shy and modest and timid and whatever.
Mhm.
So one thing led to the next, because I started in school, obviously, right? So I'm like building this portfolio without even knowing. Obviously, when I graduate from college, I think, let me go out into the world and get a job, just like everybody kind of does when they graduate.
Got my
um,
degree. Time to make those big bucks.
exactly, right? But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work out. I applied within my field,
Yeah,
and whatever. It was a male dominated industry, so it didn't work out for me. I mean, it was kind of borderline sexist,
of course.
because they're like, I'm here learning this whole trade for being behind the camera, and then I get to this broadcast station, and I'm like excited to get the job. I go through 3 interviews. I'm like, I got this in the bag. And then, they tell me that, no,
3
they're getting...
interviews. I mean, the time, the energy, and the effort that's put
Dude,
into
I mean,
all
you
that.
think that you're like, that you think you're in, Yeah.
Like,
Third
oh,
interview, you're
I'm
like,
in.
yeah, they're going to tell me I got the job. Woo.
Yeah. The offer letter is what's coming in on the third meeting.
There we go, But no, it didn't work out that way. They were like, no, your counterpart, which was a male, a dude, which was cool, Like, I remember being in the waiting room with him. I wished him good luck. Like, I'm not, I wish success for all. So obviously that was for him. I'm not mad at it. But then they asked me, like, if I wanted to be in front of the camera as like a news anchor. And I'm like, I didn't study that. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you trying me right now? And I understand, but I don't understand.
Yeah. And you're so new that you're not thinking, like, you're like, I got this degree and it's just for this.
Exactly.
I didn't graduate with journalism. So
yeah, like I didn't think broad enough either. Like I'm like, I'm 23, fresh out of college. Like, what are you talking about?
No one.
Camera. What are you talking about? Now I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. But that's part of the personal growth journey, right? So needless to say, because I had already built a portfolio for like the last year and a half, and I was kind of already freelancing, I kind of just kept doing that, but amplified it. And then I started, I was like, you know what? I was like 4 months in of doing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in. Like, I'm just going to bet on myself right now. And I started the business. It was Vanessa Castillo Visuals. So it was all about like visual storytelling on all aspects. And then, one thing led to the next, where I started meeting like people in business. And then I really liked that aspect because, they're like up and coming businesses. And it was like at that time anyways, like I was working with like small brands, I'm like in Miami, I'm only, I'm meeting people locally. Like, so that's how it started, very small. But yeah, at least luckily, like I was still able to follow that passion of connecting with people and telling their stories and whatever, like building community of some kind, right? And then one thing led to the next. I was like, you know what, this entrepreneurship life is really lonely. It was like 3 years in. I'm like meeting all of these cool people and all of these creatives. And I'm like, I don't want to do this by myself. Like, and there's only so much I could do within this visual communications. Like, I'm a writer, I'm a graphic designer. I'm all of these things because these are all the things I learned in school. But then again, like, it gets lonely and I can't do it all. Like, that's too much. So
there's only so many hours in a day.
There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many days in a week. There's only so many weeks in a month. Like, come on.
And there's only so much that your brain can literally handle.
Literally and energetically and all of that.
Yes.
So I started the agency. I created a creative agency, right? And I started outsourcing to other creatives, right? And I kind of started creating like my core team and then even more like trusted vendors and kind of just started, building a team and giving opportunities in that way and, helping out the fellow creatives, because sometimes when you're creative, you don't really have that hustle. So I was kind of like the middleman, which I loved, because now I'm like getting to help the clients, but I'm also getting to help my creative community, and like it's a win-win, And again, I'm a people person, so if people are happy, I'm happy. Like, what the hell? I just want happy people in the world, you know what I mean?
There's too much drama in the world. Let me be the one who brings happiness.
Drama in the world, exactly. So then that's 2015, I'm building community. I'm like now throwing events. I'm like having a great time. Bam, bam, bam. I'm meeting a bunch of amazing women.
Yeah.
This is what I'm noticing now. Now I'm noticing like, wow, I'm meeting so many amazing women. This is so cool. Now I want to step out of my own comfort zone, and I do want to go in front of the camera. And I'm like, I'm going to create this talk show. And this talk show doesn't even have a name at the moment. I'm just like, hey, you're awesome. I want to get you on this talk show that I'm creating. It's nameless right now, but let's go interview you. I got the questions. I started this talk show in 2018. Slowly, I think it was like 3 months later, I got the name. It was the Rich Girl Mindset, because I realized that what everybody had in common was this certain mindset. And it was not about being rich in like your wallet or your bank, because that comes, but it's about creating that alignment and that richness and like following that inner passion to create this reality that we deserve, right? So one thing led to the next. I'm interviewing all these badass women, and then I'm like, I want all of these badass women to meet. So I started the Rich Girl Mindset community. And that's
Okay.
how where we are now with the Rich Girl Mindset community, where we're like, you know, throwing virtual events, in-person events. We're growing all over the world. We have members spread out. We're trying to throw retreats and conferences and the whole nine. We're just trying to have more fulfilled people in the world. That's it.
That's it. That are happy. Women
Happy,
that are
bro. When you're
happy.
fulfilled, you're happy.
It's true.
And it's not to say that we don't have the bad days, but it's to say that we can maneuver through them a little easier. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you because of the fact that you have created community. You have created those bonds and those relationships. And when you are stuck and you do have those shitty days and you know you're in a corner crying, I speak about myself.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, this deadline is in X amount of hours. How are we going to pull this through? It's your community that comes through for you,
100%,
you
girl.
know? So,
100%.
yeah.
And we have these like vulnerable courageous conversation happy hours on, you know, and everybody comes in and we get transparent and sometimes it gets deep and sometimes we cry and sometimes we laugh and sometimes we do it all. And it's just a beautiful thing because I think when you're creating a community like that, you attract like-minded people, you know, and it's the overall message that attracts the community.
That's very true. No, that's very true. And obviously, you know, VCV, well, Vanessa Castillo in general has obviously pivoted and has gone through so much and has transitioned.
100%.
You have transitioned your company. And you even had talked about a talk show at one point, right? Like maybe 7, 8 years ago. What has you creating this change? What has made you decide to not be stagnant and to go against the grain, right? Because I feel in social media, especially, it's this is your niche. You're a finance guru. That's what you will speak about. That is what you're going to be podcasting about, writing your book about, doing all these interviews about. But you're just like, listen, I started I started behind the camera, and now we are going to what is that called? Discover. We're going to tap into what retreats look like, what conferences look like. That's very different.
Everything, girl.
Very different.
Everything. We're writing
Yeah.
books over here. I want to start a magazine. There's like so much vision for the Rich Girl Mindset, and it's like a global vision that it's like the sky is the limit, right? So I think that's number one. Like the sky's the limit. I literally like my imagination is crazy, and what's cool is like I have imagination, but then I also like execute. Like I'm not afraid to try shit. And you know, I fail along the way. I don't care. Like, keep going. But I think the number one thing is that I know that the magic happens outside of my comfort zone. So I'm always trying to find ways to step out of that comfort zone because you start doing something different and it's you stepping out of the comfort zone. Like photography for me was stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit because now I have to like talk to people. I have to get a little bit out of my shell. You know, like it's not all behind the camera. Like I got to talk to people. You know, I have a camera. People are talking to me.
Angle this way, angle that way.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's knowing that like this comfort zone is a constant change because as you step out of this comfort zone, that comfort zone that you're stepping out of and stepping into or whatever, it starts to become a comfort zone in itself. So photography was very, very much becoming a comfort zone for me, right? And I felt like the urge and like the need to do more. And what was happening was that I would go to networking events and people were introducing me as a photographer. And I was like, while I'm flattered and honored, thank you very much, I know I'm badass, that's not all I am, right? Like I give so much more. And I also have a problem with like titles and feeling confined and like put into a box. Like, no, man, like that, you know, I once was like, I'm a creative entrepreneur, I'm a visual storyteller, like, forget the titles, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's so cool, Biz Bestie. Like even sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever. You know, like I know I have to explain what that is, but I resonate with it more, you know, because as a soulful Biz Bestie, I get to open the door to more opportunity. And I get to do it in a genuine way as a best friend would. And I get to be more than just like a business person, right? Like I like to create these relationships with people. Like I don't want to just be considered your coach or your mentor. Like Nah, I want to be there for you in whatever way that I can be, you know. And if you're a member, then automatically you're like part of my inner circle and my brain, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
there's only so much you
absolutely.
can do on social media. Like,
I hear that.
it's like going to a bar. You had to like just see who you want, and then like, all right, let's go over here, take it over there.
Let's go kick it over there.
So you want to go to my place?
I will later.
There you go. Meet me on the Rich Girl Mindset Network. So yeah, I think making shift. That's why I like to say you got to make shift happen, because you always got to be moving and grooving. You always got to be shifting and drifting.
No, and I totally agree. But what makes you, or what made you realize that that is okay? That is okay to change, that it is okay to pivot, because that within itself is very challenging, right? And a lot of us don't have that. Well, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, and if I mess up, then okay, we can move forward. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
So two or three things. Number one, life is short. You can't overthink every single thing, right? Because like life is moving, and then the thing that you thought 2 years ago, now somebody's doing, and now you're feeling like meh, right? So again, it's all about chasing that joy, that fulfillment, right? So life is short. We can't overthink it, and you just gotta have fun with it. Like at the end of the day, like if we're not having fun, or if it doesn't make you happy or spark some kind of joy, then like what's the point? You know what I mean? And that's like on all aspects. That's not even like just entrepreneurship or whatever, like in life, right? Like if it's not doing it for you, then stop it. And yeah, I think it's just
next.
exactly. So yeah, man, you gotta play the game. And that's what it is. Like, we don't know how much time we have on this earth. Like, just try the thing if you really want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get in our own way a lot, and that's, we have to trust the process. You have to, recognize that everything is perfect at every moment, even in the bad, turbulent moments. Like, when it rains, it pours, and then comes this beautiful rainbow and the sunshine, and it's like, that's fucking life. There's the yin and the yang, and you just got to go for it. You just got to go for it and trust yourself. Why not trust yourself? Why not?
You know what? That's actually really great, because a lot of us don't trust ourselves. No. And you're right. Why not? Why don't I trust? Like I've been doing fine just fine, right? Like I'm still breathing. I'm still living. Like,
exactly. And like seriously, there's always a way. There's always a solution to everything. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing, is like knowing that there's always the other side of the coin. You know what I mean? Like literally flip the fucking coin if it's not working out. You know what I mean?
I love that. Okay, so how do you know which voice to listen into your head? And the reason why I ask this is because as we get older, we have a lot more fear to try new things, or even fail to try new things. I am one of those people. I know I bring it back, right? And then I
bring it back,
and then I strategize, and I look at my outline, and I look at my strategy, and then I'll sit on it for a few days and then come back. And then I'll just be like, you know what? No tienes el tiempo. You don't have the energy. You're already spread too thin, right? So I'm coming up with
all these excuses and stuff. Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, it's like, once I hit my mid-30s, it's even worse. Like la phobia to fall off, right? Like I don't remember having that phobia when I was 4 years old, learning how to ride a bike, 8 years old on my streets. Like I still have those scars, right? All over my body. When I
fell. You're getting to the answer. The answer is, and I actually spoke about this once.
Okay.
So, but I didn't have this, whatever. It's a different answer, because, new conversations spark new ideas. Okay. So I like to say that there are two voices, number one, and they're always talking to each other, and they're like going back and forth, like in a like middle school fight. You know what I'm saying? And number one, I always beat up the other voice. I'm like, shut the hell up. number one, because I like to lean into my fears. Like, I like to dive deep right into that shit. And the reason why is because I find that I get all of the answers and the clarity and all of the inspiration and all of the connections and the opportunities and the stuff. Like, everything starts to align itself the way that it's supposed to, because number one, I trust the process. I'm trusting, the universe, and whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. So I know that if I'm fearing it, that I'm supposed to lean into it.
Mm.
And that's that. And
I
that's
love
that.
that.
And
I
that's
love that.
that.
It's that simple. Así de simple.
That's it, man. I know it sounds like easier said than done, Ruby, right? But it is easier said than done, because if you're just saying it, you're not doing it. So just go do it.
Just go. It's
Just
fine.
go do it.
Oh my goodness. Did community help you realize that you wanted to make all these changes within your career? Or was it something that was inside of you? Or was it a little bit of both? Was it something you thought of and that your community was also asking for you, like asking about it for
So
you?
I don't know that there was a lot of community back in the day. And I
Okay.
know people talk about this a lot, which is why there has been so many communities popping up slowly but surely in the last like 5 years.
Mhm.
Um, at least like from like communities that I'm searching for, anyways. Like, I don't
Right.
know. I'm sure there's always been like there's definitely always been like little communities and stuff, but
Mhm.
you got to feel called to something, right?
Mhm.
But I think the fact that I was so connected, like that passion for connection, and like the little people that I would meet in like small little circles and of these creative circles and entrepreneurship circles and women's circles, like even if they were tiny or whatever, like I definitely saw something there. And I think that's why I created my own community, right? Is because like I saw something missing. I felt that something back in the day I didn't have,
Mhm.
which is why I created the creative agency. And like, because that I hate this word.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. My ESOL comes out real quick.
Got you, boo.
That we crave, and we crave human connection. Like, humans crave humans. Like, it's a scientifically, we're just programmed that way. So I think that, yeah, it's a little bit of both. Like, it was in me. It's in me, right? It might be like it's maybe genetic. I don't know. Definitely, I feel like I come from, my family they're hustlers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They
Yeah.
make shit happen, and they make shift happen.
I was gonna say they
So
definitely make shift
yeah,
happen.
yeah. So, on some level, I feel like, and I've always been an observant person. So my whole life, when I was like shy and modest and timid, like I was just taking the back seat watching everything. You know
Right.
what I mean? And my parents are only 14 and 15 years older than me. So I was very much close to their circles, and I'm watching them grow up, and I'm watching, so I was just like watching a lot, taking a little bit of everything, and creating my own, I guess, reality. Yeah, but I also, you know what? It's definitely, I feel like you have to go through shit. That's why I say, like, dive into it. Like, whatever is happening, like, trust the process and just trust that it's happening for a reason. And you might not know that reason right now. It's not gonna make sense, but later it will. Because yeah, like, definitely, I've been through some heartbreaks and shit that,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've definitely, and I think that's the hardest part is trusting the process and
Mm-hmm.
surrendering to the universe
Ooh, good
because
word.
because
Surrender.
yeah, because we are so
Surrender.
programmed, especially me, right? Like I come from events, from marketing events. So it was always deadlines. Like, here's the strategy, here's the plan, here's the outline, here's the execution, here's the backup plan if plan A doesn't work. So that's the way my brain has been working until 2020, until my job became obsolete. And having to rewire and
Oh,
reframe and
yeah.
reprogram, and then on top of that, I ended up losing 5 people within a year. And like that
Yep.
shit was heavy. And I
Yep.
didn't know how to grieve. I didn't know how to mourn because it was always like ponte las pilas, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, we know that that's happening, but also you have this deadline. And so I had to like sit with it, and then I had to go through all that stuff, and I didn't. And I was pissed. Like I was
Yeah.
pissed with the universe. Like I might have flicked Mother Earth out a little bit, right?
100%. 100%.
Like questioned my faith for sure, but I am definitely not the person that I was in 2020. I'm not even the person that I was before I went to my first sister circle, to my
There we
first
go.
wellness retreat. And to your point, like I just kind of trusted it. Like I was like, I'm not where I want to be financially. I'm not where I want to be emotionally, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. Like I'm here, I might as well.
You're
And
like called to it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then now I'm like, and don't get me wrong, like there's days that I'm like, and
It's
then
scary times. Some
you
scary
know,
times. Yeah.
or like in traffic, and you're like,
It's a
why?
it's literally a roller coaster, dude.
It
Like
is. It
that's
is.
that's life. And
Yeah.
that's the fun part. Like tell me roller coasters aren't fun. No, I'm just kidding. I know some people hate roller coasters. But it's a fun feeling. It is a fun feeling. And it's like sometimes like the unknown, number one, everything is unknown. Like we don't know what's coming in an hour, tomorrow, the next month. You know, we plan and that's amazing. Having visions and planning for the future is great. But you know, there's only so much that we could do. And that's where surrendering does it helps. It helps. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we are programmed and we have to realize that we have that power to make the shift, right? To shift that perspective, to shift that reality, to shift in whichever way you need to feel shifted, right? Like we have the power and only we can do that. So yeah, I think when it comes to anything at all, like you have to lean into you. You are the magic. You are the power. You have the answers.
You keep us up. You have the answer. No, but you're absolutely right. Like I think you have to one for sure surrendering and being able to
And
bend.
don't talk to people too much because they will get into your head. You know what I mean? And that's gonna blur the line even more for you. And you might not even take that leap of faith or step out of that comfort zone because you're like, no, Fulanito said that, you know, this, and Fulanito's never done it. So what does Fulanito know? You know what I mean?
Or if they did do it, it didn't work out for them, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work
That it
out
won't
for
work
you.
out for you. Yeah, exactly. Like
Different
you have to trust. You just have to trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when you don't trust, just whatever, man, just go for it. Surrender. Trust and surrender, baby.
Trust and surrender. That's what we're leaving with today.
Wait, time out because you mentioned 2020 and having to like. So I had to majorly shift perspectives in 2020 because our creative agency is very much like in-person stuff, you know, like creating content for people and, you know, photos and videos and getting to their events and doing this and creating events for them and building community and this and that. So we had to like, number one, we had to shift perspectives for our clients, right? Like, okay, this is happening, but this is how we can still be relevant and build community. And now more than ever, in whichever way, because a lot of businesses were shutting down too. So that was the scary part, right? But so I, at this point, had to lean more into like online stuff, which I had never done. Like I was very much a labor working person, you know, like if I'm not working hard, then I'm not working.
Very hands-on.
Which is like we're programmed this way, right? Like Latinos and stuff. Like that's how it is. I mean, my grandma just told me the other day that I don't work, basically, because I don't clock in, and I don't have to go. I don't have to go somewhere and clock in. That's what she said. So okay, damn. I was like, damn. I thought I got through to you already in 2018, but I guess we're still here.
That was my dad when I took him out for breakfast, and I was like, "You gonna start criticizing now, dog? Like for real, for real."
But one day it's gonna pay off, you know. Watch, and that's when it'll make sense. I hope. I might not even still, you know. Should I be like, I don't understand, but whatever. But so now, if you're not working hard, you're not working at all. So like the whole online thing and passive income, like it's always been on my mind, but I never, number one, I never created the time to figure it out and do it. And number two, again, like it's a zone that I didn't really know about, and I'm comfortable over here. Shit's fine, it's all good, baby boo. And like, why do I want to go over here? But now I'm being forced to, right? Because pandemic, and it's like, oh my god, it's a scary time. So, but I also have rent to pay, and I got moves to make, leaders moves to make. So bam, like I didn't even have any time to shift. I literally just had to make the shift happen. You know what I mean? So I think that time for a lot of us was when we like had to create new realities for ourselves, and we had to like lean into our fears a little bit, and a lot of people did. And now I'm like getting certified to become a life and success coach, because that's what came out of that. Like there's more that I want to give to the community, and there's more that I want to help with, and it's not just about one thing or the other. Like I said, don't put me in a box. Like it's all aligned. For me, it's all aligned. Everything that I'm passionate about, like super aligned. So so yeah, I think to your point, it's important to just make the shift happen.
And I want to thank you for telling us about that, because I actually decided, I sat down on it, and I meditated about it, and I think this might be the first time that I'm actually making it public, but I decided for this year I will become a certified meditation instructor.
Ooh.
Because again, there was so much shit that I went through in 2020, and it wasn't until November of 2022 that I found the new Yo, and I love her, y'all. Like,
hell yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, she still has her moments, right? Like she still has her moments, but
you know what? You gotta love every version of yourself.
Every
number one.
version.
So I know you loved the version of you before, and just as we grow, we're always gonna love ourselves.
Like I was looking for the old Yo. I was like, where's the events Yo? Where's the one who has her shit together? Where's the one where she lives off her Google Calendar? Like if it's not on the calendar, it ain't happening. Like where is she? And I didn't find her, and then I started getting lost, right, and depressed and having major anxiety because I was learning new things. Same thing. I was learning how to use all these different platforms, or how to show my face via online instead of in person. And then just like dealing with all that personal stuff. And now I'm like, you know what? You've done all this growth personally, and you've seen how much it helps you. It's time to give back to the community. And the best way that I know how to do that is by what helped me the most, which was meditation. And so let me go become certified so I can help my community.
First of all,
because if I was going through all this trauma, imagínate la gente.
Yeah, I love this for you. I love this for you. And that's why I talk about alignment between self, business, and online presence, because so somebody comes to me and they're talking about their online presence and all of this stuff, and then all I'm listening to is the fact that this isn't working because there's something off over here, So that's where I'll start getting deep into like, okay, let's go back to you, because at the end of the day, this is what it's about. And yeah, like if we're not feeling our best, like we can't operate at our best, and we get clouded, and we our creativity lacks, and everything starts to kind of deplete, right? So it's all a domino effect, and that's why we definitely need to be feeling like good inside, and at least like whole enough so that when the times are turbulent, we can still go back to that, right? Like that part inside of us where we know like it's gonna be okay, and you can breathe, and like you still have your breath, and you take that deep breath, and you're like, whew, it's all good, I'm alive, I got this. This.
and kind of catching yourself before you downward spiral, because that's very easy. That's very easy for me. I'm a professional at that shit. So being able to catch myself, and
that's where community comes into play.
There we go. There we go.
That happened. 2021, I lost my grandpa, and that impacted me severely. And like you said, like you can go down like, woo, and it was a few months of like, I was balancing it, but I wasn't at my full like light, like when you're at your best, and when you're at your lowest. And the community really came through, like, they understood, my clients understood. Like it's a very cool thing when you can just be a person in general, right? Like no
Well,
matter
it's the
what.
resonation. It's the
And this is what's missing
resonation.
in corporate America. Like they need to understand that the people that are working under them, and so that people are people, you know.
Yeah.
We got to value our people, we have to honor our people, we have to understand, we have to be compassionate. And yeah, man, compassion goes a long way.
It really does. No, it really does. And I remember when that happened to you. I had lost both my grandparents in 2020.
Yeah, we went through something
And I
similar.
remember I was like, Vane, I am so sorry. Like, if you ever just want to cry it out, or if you want to talk it out, or if you want to share stories about our abuelos, like,
Yeah,
let me know, because even within that, it's healing, because you're saying their name, you're remembering who they are, you're honoring them and your lineage. And it just you have your highs and your lows even between those stories. You're like bawling when you're starting, and then you're laughing at the other. So which brings
literally.
me to my next question. Like, when you decided to do all this pivoting, right? And you decided to take it to the, like, two steps up with your business, how supportive was your community?
Oh, super supportive. So I feel like in anything that I have, in any way that I've shifted along the way,
Mhm.
the community has been supportive because I've been I've been the thread, the
Mhm.
holding thread, right? And I've been consistent in anything I've done. So they know that if I'm going here, why not go there with her? It can't be all that bad, you know. She's been consistent. She's keeping it the flow going. So yeah, I find that that's why I love personal branding.
Mhm.
Cuz you are the magic, and whatever you're passionate about next, your people who are like your people, they'll
Yeah.
support you and they'll be there with you, and they'll want to, you know, people want to support. People love to support. So if they've been like a long time like supporter, yeah, they're gonna have no problem with you following your passion, you know, with in
Mhm.
whatever light that looks like, you know. Like I
Mhm.
can't imagine that people are like, oh, she's gone from a photographer to a speaker. Like that's terrible. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Oh wait, she still does photography. Like I don't get it. Like no, like okay, clearly she's just a multi-passionate creative, you know. There
Yeah.
you go.
I mean, that's how, like, I met you as a photographer the first time, for you were doing a photo shoot for one of the authors, Ashley,
Yeah, shout out to
training.
Ash.
And then the next time, then like after I think it was a few months,
Oh
we were
yeah.
both working on the launch tour together. And I was like more in the virtual, and you were doing all of the Miami events. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, here she comes, being an event planner, like, love it. And then just recently,
Definitely not an
we were
event
just
planner
kicking
though.
it at a restaurant, and like having a great time and just hanging out. And
Hanging
so
out.
it's like, oh, this is us just being normal people.
Just
Like,
being
we're not,
pals.
yeah, just being pals. And so it's great to see evolution. It's great to see change. The fact that I've been able to see this live and in front of my face, it makes sense. And right, I've never questioned it. I never was like, wait, how did she go from event planning to photography? I was like,
Right,
oh yeah,
right.
like it
Yeah,
only
like that
makes,
makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. For Bonnet, of course it made, like, of course.
Of
Like,
course, you just put a whole week long book tour together. Like, why
yeah,
not?
why not? This all makes sense to me. And so it's just great to be able to support that, right? Like the fact that I was able to go to Miami, to go to some of these events and be a supporter and not an actual like doer in the background, which was awesome.
Yeah. No, and then I went to Chicago and we hung out there. So like we're pals.
There we go.
Somos amigas.
Just in case if y'all didn't know, like, we really are.
In case you didn't know, we've hung out multiple times.
And it's not going to end, and it's not going to end. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
no, it's great to see. I'm glad to hear that everyone in your corner supports you. Obviously I have, and it's just been
Thank you.
amazing to
Excuse me.
see the change live. So I'm here for it. I love it, and I can't wait to see more little tidbits of different versions of
So
Vane.
excited. Thank you. Yes. Woo.
Vane,
Different versions.
here we like to make sure that we are human. We like to make it known because, again, we've talked about capitalism and corporate America and how you're just a number, or you're like a machine, and then they drag you down to the point where you can't anymore. Where is there a time that, and I don't want to say failure, I want to say a bump on the road or a
Bumps
different
on the
like
road. Bumps on the
experience
roads.
that kind of, you know, you had this bump on the road, but it didn't stop you from focusing on the goal that you wanted to achieve.
Mm, mm, mm,
Can you
mm.
give us an example of that?
Yeah, I feel like that happens all the time. Number one. So it happens pitching to clients all the time, right? Like
Ooh, that's very real.
you have meetings with people, they say they're ready for something, you know, you have conversations, you paint a beautiful picture, they're not ready. Okay, fine. I've been a board member on organizations where, you know, you think you're gonna be able to have like more of an impact, and really like you're just here to do this one thing, and then being the only female in the room or something, like that's a whole challenge in itself, you know. Like now I gotta like be authoritative, but I gotta be, you know, I can't be a bitch, and I gotta watch how I talk. Like number one, I don't care. Like again, we're all human.
Yes.
That's the one common denominator there. And I mean, sometimes it could get a little, you know, intimidating in certain situations, but you just gotta go with it, right? So, but I'll tell you what, I feel like when that happens again, I feel like that's just like something telling me like that's not for you, right? Like that's for somebody else, and I have to trust that that's, you know, like what's for you is meant for you, and it will be for you. You know what I mean? And there will be no question about it. So I always go in with that mindset. Like whenever something like that happens, if I don't get the speaking gig, if I don't get the client, if I don't get the this, if I pitch myself and they say okay thanks and nothing comes out of it, like, you know, it's all good. Like I have to trust that that's all right. Like that's okay. Because I'm not in control for as much control as I think I have, and as much control as I try and create and maneuver. Like I'm not in control, you know. And
I'm smiling because we just had my camera not work, right? And so like
exactly.
I thought I had it all under control. I was like, Vane, we could do it. It's great. We're all set
Precisely.
to go. No, technology was like, absolutely not. You don't have it under control.
Absolutely not. And so look, I'll give you a perfect example. It was 2021 February, and I had our virtual launch party for the Rich Girl Mindset. And it was an amazing launch party. We had like 100 people show up that all stayed throughout the whole time, which was a long time because we started off with meditation. We then went into like body movement. We went into like mindset work. We even did goal planning. Like we did a whole bunch of stuff in this launch party, right? Because it was the opening of it, you know. I'm letting people know like what we're all about on all aspects and whatever.
I remember I was there.
2021. Yeah, you were there.
I was there.
Yeah, and it was lit, you know, and I was really excited, and like this was like the beginning of like this thing that I'm trying to do, right?
Of course.
And then 14 days later, my grandpa passes away. So that like completely shifts energy for me, right?
Absolutely.
I didn't realize like how much it impacted me, or like it was gonna impact. Like, you know, I always know like I'm somebody who's not afraid of death. Like I know this is coming, right? I totally get that. So I didn't know that this was gonna impact me so much, but I guess like because we were so close, and like he was like my little buddy, you know, it impacted me. And so yeah, I had to like kind of put a pause on this. And mind you, I just had this amazing launch party, and after a launch party, you're supposed to keep going. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And then
this is where you're getting all the new clients, right? You're getting a new contract.
Yeah, and we're like building, you know, we're building momentum. Yeah, exactly. Sponsorships, like, you know. And so yeah, like that's something that happened, right? And I could have given up on the Rich Girl Mindset and said, you know what, forget it. Like, who am I? Like, what am I gonna do? Throw another event, do another launch party or whatever. And yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're gonna do another launch party, and we're gonna do it. We're actually gonna do a launch tour, and that's what we're planning for, like at the end of the year. And that's where the whole retreat and the stuff and the you know, like we're trying to make this really, because yeah, I'm not gonna give up on my passion, number one. And if I feel like I'm being called to something, and this is why I've like paved this way, and this is why I'm always stepping out of my comfort zone and blah 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 blah. Yeah, because people look at me and they think I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I'm an ambivert. which is you're an introvert and an extrovert. You get, you have your moments. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I just can't give up on me.
Co-sign on that one. A lot of people also think that I'm an extrovert, and I'm like, yo, you don't get it. I could be in
That's
my
the beauty of stepping out of the comfort zone. Exactly. People start to think that you're natural at this thing that you were like never natural at. It's like, no, dude, I'm working on my shit.
What I will say, which I think is very admirable and honorable, is that yes, like you had this amazing launch party, and again, that's like where contracts were supposed to be signed or extended, but you took time off for you. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, you let the community know, and we were supportive, but you did the grieving.
I
You
did.
did the whatever that may look like, right? Whether it's crying, whether it's swearing, whether it's just being by yourself in a blanket and like having your days and having your moments. And a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people try to avoid that by going back to work and hustling it in at work, or all of a sudden there's like some voluntary thing that they can do and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's me."
Let me
And
dive into
we're
it.
like, "You know what? I don't know how long this is going to take, but community, y'all know what's up." And then you even had some people in place to manage and look over the community, not take over it, but
Mm-hmm.
look over it, moderate, so you could do your healing. And I think that's very commendable, because not a lot of people would do that because of the fact that they're scared of what's going to come out at the end.
True.
And that's scary as fuck. Like I
Yeah,
will
it
say,
is.
like I tried to not grieve for a very long time. And when I finally did, I was like, yo, I don't even recognize this new yo, because she took the time and the steps to process
Mm-hmm.
5 people that she lost
Yes.
in
Yes.
in less than 365 days. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yo,
No.
so when people, I'm like, oh, I'm resilient. I'm a
Yeah.
warrior.
Yeah. And we
And like
are.
I
And we
need that
are.
shit,
We
you know?
are. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. For sure.
But
But
it
definitely
takes
we
some
have to go
time.
through our healing
Of
process.
course. Of
And all,
course.
every time. And
Yeah.
whatever that looks like for you, you're right. Like maybe diving into work is your healing process, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
maybe that is how you heal. But I think that you have to in those healing times, like for me personally, like I just can't operate when I'm like that, in that mindset. Because for me, everything is mindset. And if I'm in
Yeah.
like a sad mindset, I I'm not a light switch. I can't just like bloop bloop, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard. I mean, there's moments, yeah, where it's like not that severe and you can like woo, woo, and kind of toggle through things. But in those
That's
big life changing moments, you have to give yourself that time in whatever way that looks for you to listen to you, and maybe diving into work isn't the answer and you think it's the answer because that you think you're giving yourself that like saying that like, oh, this is how I heal or whatever. But are you actually able to heal in order to properly like really do your best in give your best or be your best in
yeah.
this whatever project or life or whatever. Because yeah, if we're not at our best, we can't do our best.
Yeah. I hear that.
Hear that? I
I
heard
hear
that.
So obviously your community supported you and like te apoyó durante esos tiempos malos. Are there any, other than the community that you have built, are there any other communities that you are part of that help and support you
Mhm.
with your being, whether it's professionally or personally?
Yeah, the mujerista. I feel like I've met a
Shout
lot
out
of
to the
people.
mujeres.
Shout out to the mujerista.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. Exactly. Um, I've been part of local communities like the Women's Chamber of Commerce, right? I'm
Mhm.
I'm always trying to be part like that's why I created the rich girl mindset because I realized that it's a certain mindset that you have to like make a certain move, right?
Yeah.
So I started to call the rich girl mindset a community of communities because that's like I love community so much that like if it makes sense to me, I got to be a part of it.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's a lot like I'm drawing a blank right now because I feel like I'm just part of that many communities. I'm part of like
Oh, I
a
feel you.
photo community. I'm part of like there's different communities, different stuff. I'm part of an artist community, a yoga community. Like there's like so because you got to fill up all the areas that make you. You know what I mean? And I'm not just a business person. Like I'm not just a daughter or whatever. Like, there's so many things that I love and I'm passionate about that. Yeah, I love to join anything that I can and support, right? Like, that's what it's about too. Like, if you're creating a community and I feel called to it, I gotta be there.
FOMO if I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many people in this world, man. It's so cool. I'm fascinated by it.
No, it is. It is. And actually I'm really happy that you brought that up, because I think sometimes like we become our job title. And that's why like it's so beautiful that you're like, yo, fuck these titles. That's not meant for me. That's cute. Like that's cool for you, but not for me.
Right.
And so a lot of people, when they get stuck on that, right, they only go into those specific communities. Like financial gurus will only stick to finance communities. But we are human beings and we are beyond multidimensional. Like you said, like you love yoga, you're going to go into a yoga community. I love wellness, so I'm in a wellness community, shout out to Manifest House. But because there are different aspects, so I think that's beautiful that you bring that up, that just because supposedly your title makes you, that's only a part of who you are. That's not the entirety of who you are. So if you, and like, that's the beautiful thing about the rich girl mindset is not only do you do entrepreneurial things, but like, again, at your launch party, you had the body movement. You did have a meditation part in the beginning. And that showed us like, yo, we need to also be mentally and spiritually and emotionally present in order to even get to the business part, because the business part wasn't even until the end.
Right.
We did everything else before that. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where we as human beings get lost. It's like, oh no, I want to make six figures. So I can only be in these communities and I need to concentrate and I need to put all my energy in it. And it's like, no, yo, your spirit is going to get burnt out. Exactly. So do yourself a favor and get involved in anything that makes you happy and brings you joy.
And brings you joy. Por supuesto.
All right, Mama. So in every episode, we ask our guests to recommend a book for our líderes. Is there any books that you can recommend for us? And again, it can be either personally or professionally.
I really like this book. It's called Girl on Fire. Let me see. What was and also, I mean, man, there's like a lot of, if there's one thing I like doing, it's reading. We also have a book club.
There we go. See, like honestly, the Rich Girl Mindset is a one-stop shop, y'all. Like, go there.
Yeah, because bro, the mind, man, we got to feed our brains, dude. Like for real. What's this girl? Oh, Kara Always Label, whatever. Just Google Girl on Fire book and it'll pop up. But yeah, I really like that book because it talks about the like personal branding, but it doesn't talk, it basically talks about like how to choose yourself and like burn the rules, and like bet on yourself. And like, hold on, it says it right here, look. Oh, how to choose yourself, burn the rule book, and blaze your own trail in life and business. I mean, it's just like, it's a good book. And it's not even too long, it's digestible. Yeah, it's digestible.
I love it. I don't know if I have time for like a 600-page book right now.
And then any You're Badass book is awesome.
Yeah, they are actually pretty cool. I just finished reading 2 of them.
You're Badass at Making Money. I love that one. That really changes your perspective on like your value and how you can bet on yourself.
I think I know I did the one with the yellow cover.
That one's you're like I think that one's just You're a Badass.
You're a Badass, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one's good too.
Yeah. So Vane,
but yeah, join our membership, join our book club, and let's read books together.
No, yeah, I love it. So we're almost out of time, and obviously I want to thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your resources on the Making Líder Moves community. We really appreciate it here, and we also appreciate everything you do for the Latina community and their general entrepreneurial as well as wellness being. What is it that you want to give a shout out as far as your biz? Where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Again, what is the newest project that you're working on or that you're going to be launching soon?
Thank you for having me on your show. I'm super humbled anytime somebody asks me to talk. So thank you for real.
Of course.
Um,
And it's
follow
a
me.
conversation that needs to be had, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
somos amigas, so it's very,
Uh,
like, super
I'm
chill.
like, yeah, I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can follow me on the Boss Lady V. That's my funnel page. Anything that I'm passionate about or I'm working on will always be there. The Rich Girl Mindset, of course, that's my baby right now, and we're working very hard on creating like different ways of bringing the community together and different ways of forming that alignment between mind, body, soul, and purpose. So definitely, if you can afford $20 a month, join the membership. It's a beautiful place.
Mm.
And yeah, we're trying to do a lot of different things, and I think that once you join, that's the place where you get first dibs on everything and discounts and special stuff. So yeah, that's the place to be right now. And then yeah, you can also follow, if you like creative shit and like business branding and all that, VCB agency. What?
Yeah.
My biz babies.
We're all here. We're all your biz babies.
But yeah, thank you so
And
much.
yes, I have been part of the Rich Girl Mindset, and I will say that I definitely get value out of it myself. So, and that's the beautiful thing about the membership. Like, there are sometimes where I'm like, oh, okay, I want to do some more personal stuff than entrepreneurial stuff, so let me show up for that instead of the entrepreneurship. Like, the thing is, y'all have events happening, so it's like I can pick and choose which ones I want to show up for, and which ones I'm like, you know what, not my calling.
Exactly.
Not this time around.
Exactly.
Vane, I am so excited to see these retreats, to see these conferences. Obviously, let me know because I get FOMO and I have to be there. And the fact that I haven't seen you since October,
yeah, it's a little too long already.
It's due. Ya es tiempo. It's time.
Ya estamos. Hello.
Ya estamos. Vane, mi amiga, again, thank you so much for sharing
you.
tu tiempo y tu knowledge. Again, I know I saw you like 2 months ago in Miami, but for sure I will be seeing you sooner rather than later.
Yes.
And we are throwing that energy out there in the universe, y'all. We're going to make
yes.
For all of those who joined, thank you so much for listening. I hope you were able to receive some gems of knowledge that were dropped in today's episode. Don't forget to leave a review, please. 5 estrellitas, por favor. And join the online community Making Leader Moves on Facebook as well as Instagram. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at makingleadermoves@gmail.com. Gracias once again, and I will catch you on the next episodio. Abrazos, besos y cariño, familia.
Mucho amor.
Oh, shout out to Rosa Mercado.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Besitos.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.